What's up, YouTube? MK40 here. We are here with the lovely
SolemnYugioh.
SolemnYugioh. Man, it's so weird saying that, right, Solemn?
Yeah, it really is. Like, if people don't know, usually I'm a Vanguard channel, but I also have this, like, collecting passion or hobby or investing, whatever you want to call it. And so for that reason, I also have SolemnYugioh, which, like, focuses on finance meets Yu-Gi-Oh! I know it's a weird one, but some people really enjoy it, so that's been cool.
Some people would say that you really help those prices go to the moon.
I don't think, holy hell, I don't think that my channel is big enough to help prices go up. Like, that'd be interesting for sure, but like, what are we at now? 5.8k subs? I don't think that's enough to move the market. I think it's mostly been like COVID, spreading all of this, collectibles hype, and then you had Logan Paul getting into Pokemon. You had Steve Aoki buying Yu-Gi-Oh cards for like 100k. You have all other really big like Silicon Valley Facebook people and like big influencers buying Yu-Gi-Oh, like on the down low still, but they're getting like slightly louder on Instagram. So I think all of that had way more effect than my tiny little channel.
The interesting thing about Yu-Gi-Oh is like, so from like a standard player standpoint, you see a PSA card and you're like, what is this? You know
I can't play with this.
I had a friend was talking about Hobby League Torrentials were so much money. He thought about buying a PSA 1, cracking it just to play it. I was like, what?
Oh, no, don't do that. There's like cheap light play ones. Don't buy a 10 to crack.
I mean, sometimes Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are like that. So, for those of you that are like, all right, why are we here, Robbie? So, we're going to talk about a little bit of the financial market. You guys are going to check out Solemn down below because you guys love him. If you guys are Vanguard players, you're going to get a different aspect to this man's many, many, many sides, from instrumentalist, Vanguard analyst, to Yu-Gi-Oh! Analyst. Outside of that, Why go into Yu-Gi-Oh? Like, what made you want to start pursuing this passion again?
So, for people who don't know, like, I started back in 2003 or 4. Like, Pegasus Starter Deck Magic Ruler is when I started. I played all the way until the start of 5Ds. Topped a regional with Dark Armed, because, well, anyone could top a regional with Dark Armed. Then I quit. Then I came back in Lynx. So I want to say when Summon Sorceress came out, like in Europe, so you had Goki, Dark Armor, whatever the hell, like Dark Warrior, Danger, that one. That's when I came back. So I bought my first starter deck Kaiba. I followed a lot of Alpha Investments and SM Pratt. I don't know if you follow those pretty closely.
Oh, Alpha's a sweetheart.
Yeah, absolutely. And so the starter deck Kaiba just went up, and I was like, that's interesting. Like, I just bought that because I love Kaiba. I also love Pegasus and Zane. And just having like that nostalgia bug biting again just made me splurge like crazy. So very early 2020 is when I started buying like all the more expensive things, because I actually had a massive tax bill coming in 2020, because the way it works in Belgium, you pay a 54% income tax, by the way, which is very fun. And so that tax bill, that tax bill is 2 years late. So all the money I had been making since 2018, the tax bill came in 2020. So while I was watching the market and following, and I had like a few little things, all the big purchases, I was waiting, because I was like, damn, 2020, this bill is coming, man. And then I got the bill, paid it. I was like, okay, now we're gonna play. And so then I just started buying all the cards I had been missing out on. And yeah, I mean, since early, like that was early last year. Since then, everything has just gone up even more. So I just kind of like,
to the moon.
Yes, to the moon. Oh man, no, no.
Those words are from a very inspirational person in our community, by the way.
Yes. He actually called me out in a video. That was hilarious.
Ooh, man, you're famous.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my little channel has haters.
oh no. So, okay, so from a collector standpoint, let's look at something like the new Prismatic collection coming out in Japan, and we'll even touch on like the Prismatic God cards. Actually, we'll start there. So you recently saw that they got this little God box in Japan, right?
Yes.
A very beautiful product. How do you feel about long-term longevity for like a collector buying those God cards? Do you see them continuing to hold value?
So I will say that I'm not a huge OCG guy. Like I follow it. I probably like know more than the average guy, but my knowledge in OCG is far smaller than in like actual TCG. So I do think that product is interesting because the God cards are probably one of the most loved cards out there. Like people always say Blue Eyes is like our Black Lotus or our Charizard, and I think that's correct for sure. But my most asked question is, oh, where should I buy GBI Ultra God cards? How much should I pay for those? How much? Like that is the number one question. So the fact that in the West, the GBI God cards is what everyone asks me about, I can see how in the OCG Prismatic God box, that is like a huge winner. Because God cards are just so loved. It's absolutely insane. What's also interesting...
Go on.
Oh, what's also interesting is the amount of value like in that box. I saw House of Champs and you like break it down at one point where you had these what was it? You had sleeves, you had the stand, you had the God cards, something else as well. Yeah, like just so much value, and then the cards on top. And since then they've like risen so much already, right? Like maybe they'll retrace because maybe a little hype is already priced in, but I don't know. I wouldn't bet against God cards ever, basically.
One thing I heard people complaining about with our market is like, why continue to reprint things like the God cards and Blue Eyes? And like you said, they're literally the most coveted cards in our market.
Yeah, right? And I don't think that's bad. You know, people always cry about reprints, but the original LOB Blue Eyes still sells for 5 figures. SDK sells for 5 figures. DDS sells for 5 figures in PSA 10, by the way, not in the lower or in the RAWs, but like... These reprints don't hurt the originals or the collector's items because people want a rarity. Like, sure, there's a common reprint out there, but that doesn't matter for the high end. So,
now, when you look at something like the Prismatic Collection that brings alternate arts to the game, do you think that there's like... Do you feel it's a bad thing that we're kind of becoming more like Magic the Gathering with like all these alternate arts per se? Or do you think it's a good opportunity for the game?
So... I will say I am very biased. Did you see IP Masquerena?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Gorgeous piece, by the way.
Like, I saw that and I was like, you know, I don't even care about, like, the value. Because in Magic right now, with all these alternate arts, a lot of the value is being, how would you call it? Like, not vanishing, but lowering, because people have to, you know, diffuse their attention towards many things, and they're like, oh, should I buy this or should I buy that? And so, you know, dilution is what I would say. Like, it dilutes the pool. And so I feel that, but when you look at the cards they're targeting so far, like, IP was not a collector's card yet. Maybe is it a collector rare or a Starlight rare?
The prismatic rare, I think, is 650 still.
Yeah, so that's out there, you know. But I don't think that new reprint will really do anything towards that one because it's not in the same rarity bracket. So I don't know. I just think it's cool to have options. I think this card is also beautiful, so I might be super biased.
I mean, things like Plasma got the reprint in the rarity collection. You know, we don't have a current scheduled release date for this stuff in the TCG, but it kind of feels like we've been going down more of the... I mean, we've had reprints, but it feels like we're going more down towards the Magic paradigm with more alternate arts as of late. And I like that, but it's interesting from like a collector standpoint. It's like, you know, most of these new arts don't even come in like a higher rarity. Like for an example, the new Alistair was in gold only. Yeah. And, you know, people hate gold. So
sometimes, yeah.
So,
yeah, I don't think that's bad. I think like if someone specifically wants to collect one card, you know, maybe like you're a Relinquished fan and you want all the Relinquished, or you're an Alistair fan, you want all the Alistairs, you're just happy that there's another one, you know, because always having the same art in various rarities is fun. But having even more options is cool, you know. But
15 reprints later, you're like...
Exactly. But I think the new ones will never dilute the pool of the original. Like, Magic has reprinted Shivan Dragon 1,000 million times, and the original still just holds true. So I think the original collectors will always covet the originals, and then people who want to collect a broader spectrum now have options. I don't think there's anything, you know, inherently bad about that. And again, like, I'm a big Destiny Hero simp, so having another Plasma is also really cool anyway.
Oh, that is true. It'll never look as good in American print as it will in the Japanese print with those Prismatic Secret Rares, because they'll be like supers or something somewhere along the way here.
Yep. I mean, I can imagine us getting a full art of it at some point. Like, Yu-Gi-Oh! Hasn't really dabbled in full art yet.
I don't know. I don't know why Yu-Gi-Oh's never gone down. Like, so Magic the Gathering, like, borderless, you know, you could even take away the text box itself and just put the words over the card. Yu-Gi-Oh's just never done that, and I don't know why.
I think they'll, like, Magic was very careful at first as well. It was like, oh, but this is what a Magic card looks like, this is how it should be. And then Pokemon went like, fuck it, let's go. And then Magic is like, damn, should we say that? Should we do the same? And then they started doing the same. So, I don't know, like, Magic has sometimes done it, but not to the same extent as they have been doing now. And I think
Yu-Gi-Oh's 25 years old at this point. We don't have an excuse. Okay?
Yeah, I know, but like they're trying. I feel because like they've already like broadened the frame. You probably know that, but like the old card,
yes.
yeah, ever so slightly. And then the Rush Duel ones are going like way broader. So I'm sure at some point we'll start getting those. It's just a matter of time. But that's just my
50th anniversary. Let's go.
2070, finally a full art Blue Eyes.
Oh, finally! My Blue Eyes White Dragon no longer has a flavor text. It just has 3,000 in the defense points in the corner with the name.
Oh, that's true. Like, they should absolutely just print the vanillas in full art from the get-go. Like, there's no point in... I mean, flavor text is fun, but... I don't know, they don't have an excuse there.
Let's be honest here, though. Modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Was more about the waifu as laifu. Alright?
Yeah.
But I guess that's a cultural thing, too, because Japan has definitely gone more towards the waifu culture as well.
Mm-hmm. It's actually funny, because Yu-Gi-Oh! Players have been, like, laughing about Vanguard players for a while, right? Like, oh, look at your Bermuda, oh, look at this waifu, this, and now Yu-Gi-Oh! Is getting so many of those, it's like, oh.
Yo, somebody actually brought that up. They're like, man, remember when Yu-Gi-Oh! Players had Vanguard tokens?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, now we have, like, 3,000 waifus in our own decks.
Yeah.
So... It's sad times. So what do you think about how the market's been shaping up with the big alternate arts? You know, the waifus coming in. Like, what's your TLDR on that?
I don't think it matters. I think it's more like a sideshow. I guess you will always have waifu tax. Like, I'm sure some people will simp over Ray and Tour Guide forever, and Dark Magician Girl, of course, if you want to be the OG simp. So we've always had that, I feel. It's just more now, because they're, like, kind of going back on the whole censorship that they used to do. Like, back in the day, oh, no,
Lost Arts,
side
baby.
boob. A side boob, let's do, yeah, now they have, like, Lost Art, and then they're going,
oh, no, it's
here's
even
our...
worse, because they'll censor it in the freaking main set, and they'll be like, all right, go to your OTS, give them $30. Now you can have the one that shows the foot.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, I wonder why Lost Art is even a thing when they're clearly willing to print those cards now. I don't know. It's a bit of a weird one.
Gotta keep the OTS stores afloat.
I mean, I'm happy for Lost Art. Like, Dark Magician Girl Lost Art is amazing, but I don't get it, because clearly they don't have to censor anymore in 2021. Like,
remember when the reprint on Dark Magician Girl ruined buyer confidence?
Yeah. Is it actually, like, stabilizing back up, or is it still
It's
low?
stabilized about 40 plus still, so nothing has changed.
I mean, I guess it went down like $15 to $20 then.
But it was a card that was released in a very small window as it was, and it did need the reprint.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not against it. I just thought it was, funny, because you're like, oh, wow.
Oh yeah. All right, so I heard that you were involved with a very big transaction recently.
Yes.
Or you watched it. Tell us about this.
So, a few months ago, well, not a few, basically in December, early December, a friend of mine got hit up by someone, and they were like, oh, we have an LOB case and an MRD case. So, sealed case with LOB first edition booster boxes and MRD first edition booster boxes. And for people who aren't aware, like, LOB at the time was $20,000 per box, and MRD was, I don't know, 4.5 or 5, whatever, in that range per box, which is huge. If you have a full case of those and you're like, oh, I had these sitting around, that's cute. And so we were like, what? So we basically had like a bunch of collectors come together and pool all the money together to instantly buy up his entire position at of course like a good rate, because as you know, like, shipping out such high value items, if even one gets lost, you're gonna cry. You just lost like half a Tesla.
Exactly.
So they were just happy to move it all at once, don't have to deal with all the BS with, because that's actually a big thing. Sometimes someone will buy a first edition LOB box that's real, and then they will pick a fake one, or a resealed one, open that on camera and say, hey, PayPal, look, I had this fake one. Now give me my refund. So that way they can like pocket the real one. Like that's the kind of bullshit that mostly happens in Pokemon, but so that's a real fear when dealing in these super high-end items. So the guy was just happy to, you know, move them all at once. And so that way we got, you know, discounted high-value boxes, but the total transaction value was still $258,000. So, you know, that's a really, you know, that's basically the biggest public TCG Yu-Gi-Oh deal. There's some people who say like, oh, you know, OCG prize cards have sold for 400,000 or whatever. So that's why I specify TCG. But when it comes to, you know, public, huge deal, that's basically the biggest one Yu-Gi-Oh has had so far.
That's actually pretty awesome, like in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's been wild. Like, you need to trust people, you know. You send all that money to like someone and you hope that they pick up the boxes and send them to you. Like, ooh.
there's a casual Yu-Gi-Oh player listening to this going, I can barely afford $10 and you spent 6 figures?
I mean, together. Like, me personally, I didn't. But yeah, together we did.
Don't worry, obligatory, you could have bought a house with that money.
I mean, the thing is, though, does a house appreciate as fast as a Yu-Gi-Oh card? Like, can you actually move a house as fast as a Yu-Gi-Oh card? Like, don't get me wrong.
I can turn a paperclip into a house with 5 years of time, according to the internet.
That's true, yeah. I will say, though, like, be aware this is a very, like, volatile, speculative market, so don't take that as me saying, oh, real estate is a bad investment. Like, absolutely not. Like, that's a time-proven, legit thing. But, you know, if you are not willing to be a real estate flipping person, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh has had some good returns so far.
Hey, if you don't want to be a real estate flipper, you can go be a car salesman. Same thing.
Yeah, right?
On a smaller scale. If you don't want to do that, go sell Pokemon cards. Oh, don't do that. Pokemon market's horrible right now.
Oof, the amount of people doing Vivid Voltage right now, I'm very afraid for those people. Like, clearly it's a huge market, but the amount of people who are gonna be vendors and realize that everyone wants to be a vendor, oof, I'd be afraid.
The amount of scamming happening in Pokemon 2 is absurd right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The resealing, the fake card stuff. Like, there's actually people who are doing proper fake PSA slabs now. And, like, that was...
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'll cover that sometime in the future on SolemnYugioh. Go subscribe.
Any final comments you want to add for this, Solemn?
No, not really. It was just cool to be on the channel, have a little talk. If people are interested in finance meets collecting meets Yu-Gi-Oh, they can come check me out. They should also subscribe to mcol40, the amazing Market Watch channel. But of course, like, I also follow your channel for, you know, being up to date with meta decks and so forth. Like, I like how you cover, oh, here's this weird rogue deck, and then I can watch. And as a noob, like, I'm not a great player anymore. Like, I couldn't top a regional right now. Back then with Dark Armed it was fine, but these days I wouldn't be able to. So just being up to date has been really fun. So it's just an honor to be on the channel, really.
All right, guys, you heard Solemn. Go check him out. Do it. All right, it's easy. All right, if you guys don't, you make me sad. All right, well, we're gonna end the video here. Solemn has way more stuff on his channel. He's also got the breakdown for the actual big video for the heist, as I'm gonna call it. I'll leave that down below so you guys can check it out. It's a good watch. And well, guys, have a good rest of your day. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see your beautiful faces later on, guys. Peace out.